Okay guys, let's get started. Thank you very much everyone for coming along. Yeah, this is a public debate, the first public debate that I've really been a part of, so it's quite exciting, a little bit nervous, so forgive me for reading a few things off a bit of paper about why I posted what I did on the portal and decided that this beautiful painting here was a reason I think we should all get together and have a little talk about the painting itself, but also about representation in the university. The event is being filmed with lovely Graham at the back. Hello Graham. Master of his art. He is going to record the whole thing. He's going to record the audio as well. We may as well get the whole thing on film. If you do not want to be filmed, or if what you say you do not want to be on the film, which is okay as well, see Graham whenever you need to leave or at the end, and we can make sure that we've got the details and we can take you off the film as need be. The format, I don't really know how these things work, but I guess people just talk, but I thought of a rough format that we might use. I'll introduce the thing, tell you about why I decided to call the meeting, and then people can talk about what they think the painting is, what they think about what I brought up, and if there's anything that we want to do about it. Namely, I'm going to propose we pass a motion or see if people want to be part of something that as a student body we take further, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. Cool. Oh, speaking, I'm sure we all will be, but if somebody's talking and you disagree with what they say, trying to heckle them, cajole them, get out, things like that. And the security guard came in and said, can no one sabotage the painting during the next half an hour or so. In any righteous outrage, you feel like smashing up just for painting. Okay, so I'm just going to read what I propose to say to you from the paper, just so I'm clear. After I posted my portal message, I realised that the reaction to this painting has been a mixed one. I've had staff coming up to me, students coming up to me, most people talking about what they didn't like about the painting. A few people saying, particularly on the portal, that they didn't see what our cause was, bleeding-hearted liberalism, things like that. They didn't really understand what it was about. So it's been a real mixed reaction. Some were for it, some were indifferent, and for others, it caused a great discomfort and unease. And it's those feelings about this thing that I think we've come to address here today. It's my opinion that the painting creates such discomfort and unease because of its lack of sensitivity and bad representation of our community. So a lot of people, when I first posted it, said to me, how do you know this represents the community? Take one look at it. Students studying, graduating, playing sport, our campus. It's obvious that this represents our community. This is the main icon that we have on our Winchester thing. It's obvious that we have members of staff. But I also emailed, I tried to email Joyce or Alison, the executive, Alison, who is it?
It's Alison Lawrence.
Alison Lawrence, yeah, thank you. Alison Lawrence, but got in touch with Helen Davies, which is her PA, just to ask some questions about how art is commissioned, are students involved in it, and how much of this painting cost to be commissioned. To which she replied, Dear Akil, our work at the university is commissioned in a number of ways. There is a Friends of Arts group drawn from across the university, including the Students' Union, which is invited to comment on and suggest potential acquisitions. So if anyone has any ideas for great pieces of art, just drop them a little email. Any member of the university may propose the acquisition of a piece of art which would be considered by the senior management team and the Friends of Art. I know from the intranet that you have some concerns about the picture recently placed in the St. Edberger building. The picture is a gift to the university by the artist. The Vice-Chancellor was interested in acquiring a piece of art which represented the foundation, mission and values of the university, and Rosa Branson, MBE, offered to paint such a picture. She painted it based upon photographs found in the prospectus and other publicity material. Now I don't know if Helen was like just chilling out with Rosa Branson in a house or something and went, you know what, I really fancy painting about our values and that I want to put like a really, really big one in this. And Rosa just went, oh, you know what, I'll give you one. I think there was a little bit more of a deliberateness than what's insinuated in the letter in terms of this particular painting. Rosa Branson, she's a famous artist. She did the piece of artwork in the other foyer at the bottom of the steps over in the main building. She paints since 1990. She paints for free. She retired. Her husband left her a big pension. She now paints for charity. Does a lot of work in this particular style, and she says that she does it in this particular style for work for charities to promote charitable donations. Obviously, in a particular religious style. Are we a registered charity as a university? I'm sure we are a registered charity in university. In terms of a public painting in a central place for us to receive charitable donations, a place that all students, I don't know if that's a particularly good use for this, but this is a public space and could be used for anything. But my first note was, okay, Rosa, who was granted a doctorate, an honorary doctorate in 2013, she was also somehow a way, shape or other volunteered to create a picture in line with what the Vice-Chancellor wanted. Okay, so this is me now. Because of the obvious lack of representation, I've called this meeting today to see if there is support for a motion to ask for the immediate removal of the painting, and if a wider debate needs to happen between Winchester University community, its staff and students, including the student union and the senior management staff who commission art for the university. This wider debate needs to question how representative, truly representative, art around the campus is, both already on display now and for future pieces of art to be commissioned. The Friends of Art, as far as I know when I went to ask the student union about it, are not a working group. They don't function properly. The student union is meant to be a part of this Friends of Art group that have a say in commissioning pieces of work like this. What I was told by the president of the student union was that Harry Stowe, the last president of the student union, who should have been a part of this Friends of Art as the student union head representative, all he was asked was, can you provide a picture of a sporting activity? To which this was the picture we provided, and hence it's appeared. Fantastic sporting activity on the top. In terms of being asked, what do you think of our commission? What do you think of the piece of work? What do you think of the piece of work produced? What do you think of the portrayals that we're going to use in this piece of publicity? As far as I was concerned, the Friends of Art are not a working group, and I think that's one of the problems in terms of representation of the university. So my particular position, let me make it clear now, I'm not saying that this painting is racist. I'm not saying that the university is racist. I'm not saying that the painter is racist, but I do want to, me specifically, address the representation of black people in this painting specifically, and wider in the university as well. But I want to address why I think the painting is not only insensitive in terms of its representation, but also offensive enough that it should be removed. This is a portrayal of our community. This is a portrayal of every member of our community. This is the black people that are portrayed in our community. After I noticed this, I went around the whole university and I looked at the images that we have in this university of black people, and actually it made me sick to my stomach. A learning cafe, coffee machine, there's one on the side of that. There's some pieces of work in the main building on the wall there, entitled what is it that could make you happy? And there's pictures of African people saying, oh, I want water, I want education and stuff. Tastefully done, but I still think part of an issue that we need to debate. Outside the chapel, does prayer work, an A4 piece, does prayer work, titled at the top. with a small African child in an extreme state of starvation on the floor. Apart from that, I didn't find many images except in our publicity. And we'll just finish on this story. A couple of weeks ago, they wanted someone to do their 2015 perspective photographs for the prospectus. Somehow I got involved in that. My name got put forward. I was like, yeah, sure. We came in here to do the shoot, and I was like, I want this painting in the prospectus so people can see what our environment is like. And they were like, no, we're not going to do that. Just sit there. We'll get like this in or something like that. And I was like, no, I really want this picture in so people can see what our environment is like. And they flatly refused to put it in. Fair enough, in my opinion. I completely understand why. But I think that's a betrayal of the mixed messages that we've got in this university, and that this gives out that one of our core values is diversity. One of our core values is that we have a huge, diverse community that we should all be proud of. But pieces of art like this, and our representations of that diverse community in actuality in this university, I think do a great injustice. So to finish, I think this painting is crass, insensitive, mocks the reality of our community, and should be equally offensive to anyone who has a genuine concern for the quality and diversity of this university. Okay, I think I went on a bit enough there. That was my particular position. I now open it up to anyone, particularly counter-arguments. This is a debate. I open it up to anyone for or against who think that this has been blown out of proportion or whatever. If anyone wants to say anything, the floor is yours. Whoa.
I want to say that there's no disabled people in it either. Like, I know that there's no physical disabilities that you can see. I don't know about learning difficulties or whatever, but you can't see them anyway, they're invisible. But I think it's important that there should be some visible ones as well, because we're not all able-bodied at this university, and it's not fair to count them out either, is it?
I agree with that, but an issue is that so many disabilities are invisible, and sometimes if there is a wheelchair, it's kind of patronising to disability, that that's the only one representation you get. I'd like to point out the LGBT down in the corner. It's almost like someone was like, oh, don't forget to mention that, and it's been put in ever so small in the corner.
Well, you say that, but LGBT is actually bigger than the sort of statement that says we support tolerance and acceptance. Now you'd think LGBT would be part of that general mission statement.
Yeah.
And I think choosing to have it big like that is almost like, oh yeah, this is the political hot topic at the moment. We should definitely make clear that yes, we do accept, gays and transgenders.
And it says social justice, quite big, but representation, this isn't social justice, is it?
If I could comment on that, there is a Student Academic Council, of which I happened to be a member last year, and at that council it was mentioned that senior management wanted to commission a painting that was supposed to represent the values of this university, and that was supposed to display the Christian foundations of this university. And over the summer, a lot of art has popped up around campus representing Christian values, and there is the angel which has been chosen because supposedly it also represents other faiths. But LGBT was mentioned at that meeting because it was said if this university displays Christian values at this time where same-sex marriages are, political discussion, how can you ensure to make sure that LGBT students still know they're welcomed on this campus when you walk on here and you have Christianity in your face in every corner now? So I think that's what led to that. That doesn't mean that I agree with the way it's being displayed, because you have a gay male couple who gets married in the cathedral, and this is impossible. You cannot get married in a cathedral, in a church, within the Church of England at this point in time. So I wonder why they chose it in that format.
I think I'd quite like to raise the central image. Obviously, the university is big on emphasising its Christian foundations. As an atheist, I don't have any problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is the main image of this painting that represents the university being the cathedral, rather than the university centre, which is just to the right of it. And also what troubles me is the sort of almighty sun that's being looked upon as some sort of guidance or source of support or strength, and it doesn't tie in with the works of art that have been commissioned. The university have been very well, they've very pointedly said that the artwork represents people of the Christian faith, of other faiths, and of no faith. And I don't think that ties in with having the cathedral as the central image.
I don't know. I don't see how this is meant to represent the community. I think this looks to me like someone took a recruitment commercial for the University of Winchester, took a bunch of screenshots, and glued them all to a wall. I think it's sort of all of the text everywhere. It's clumsy and sort of, I don't know, it makes me feel like the university that I see when I look at this picture is a commercial one, is one that thinks that people need to be like, have things spelled out for them. It's kind of condescending. It's disjointed. And then there's the corner of afterthought diversity there with the 3 black people and the tiny different color banner of LGBT. I don't think it represents what I've been experiencing at this university at all. And I don't know why it's here, because I'm already at the university and I don't need you to sell it to me. Like, I'd like to see more, maybe some student work, or, like what comes out of the university, then show me the values that way.
Can I just say, I think the corner of afterthought is the perfect description. But also, as you said, I hadn't thought of it like this, but if I came here now on an open day and saw that, I would feel that perhaps as somebody who doesn't believe in any God or doesn't belong to any sort of organised religion, that I possibly wouldn't be welcome, because it's a very heavy Christian religious emphasis on that.
I think it's got anything to do with Christianity. So that the cathedral is like the central point of Winchester as a place. There's a song named after it, for goodness sake, and it's on our badge and everything. I don't think it's got anything to do with, I know it represents Christianity, but I don't think there's any implied Christian meaning behind it. I think it's just a representation of Winchester, because when people think Winchester, they think cathedral, just because of the part of the song.
But it's a representation of the city, not of the university. And I think it's appropriate to include the history of the city in the mural, but it shouldn't be the center. The center should be the university itself.
Well, when I first came to uni, I thought I'd encounter some kind of, sort of red tape and political correctness, but this really does take a biscuit, I must admit. It's ironic that whoever it was posted a picture of Joe Stalin on the Facebook wall, because this really is some ludicrous sort of, anyone who looks at this and sort of, and hates it or disagrees with it, you're perfectly entitled to do so, but this really is someone who's offended by this really must be some kind of ludicrous culture Marxist. Because when I look at this photo, I see individuals, I see a group of people, all with a different backstory, all with a, when I look at it, I don't see, look, there's a white person, there's a gay person, there's a black person. I see a group of individuals, pictured together, they've all come from this university, and I think it's a pretty damn poor excuse to look at race in this concept. I think that's pretty poor, to be fair.
I think you said, you immediately said culture Marxism, like that's an insult, and then you said why anyone could perceive this as a bad painting, not only a bad piece of art, but also as an unrepresentative piece of art. You may not have a problem with it, but others might. And that's, I think, just because you don't see anything wrong with it, you shouldn't say, well, if you see something wrong with it, you're a culture Marxist, like it's derogatory. I think that's, I think you should look at the fact that, yes, the minority groups are in the corner. They're not the main focus. The diversity that the university does have here isn't represented in that. It's pushed to the corner as though it was, again, like an afterthought. And you seem to just be ignoring all that and saying, you know, yeah, this is what I think, and no one else should have a problem with it.
Well, I always got told that whether you're gay, black, straight, whatever, I always got told that didn't matter, and I presume everyone here agrees with me. So I don't see why it matters at all, really. I don't care whether you're white, black, or whatever. All I want to do is to celebrate this university, this institution, and this city. And I don't know, it's not my favourite painting ever, but I think this painting does it quite well, to be frank.
I don't think it's just about race though. Like, I think it ignores male achievement as well, fighting from the other side here. Because the graduates outside of the cathedral are all women. And where's the exaltation of getting a degree when you're a man? Like it wouldn't just be all women graduating. I know it's like 70% women in university, but it's just simply not representative in my eyes. Like, we don't even do ballet here, so why is that wrong? The painting. And why is somebody standing in a coffin? It's just ludicrous. Like,
I didn't say it was a brilliant, the
if
best
this is
fantastic
representative, then why is the same person on it 3 times? Like, I think it's a vice chancellor. Look, it's there and there. And
The coffin, I think, has something to do with this university being the only the first university to offer an MA in death studies. I'm not quite sure what the title of the MA is, but it's basically studying death, which is...
The person in the coffin, the person in the coffin is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, and it's an image taken from the Death Day, which we were the first university to do. And it happens every year. And it's a wicker coffin, wicker in the sense that it's made of wicker, Wiccan in the sense that it represents another religion as well. There you go.
Okay.
We're just. I was just wondering whether or not there should be a blurb or something underneath the painting, because I'm gonna have to say I think it is a good painting in terms of visual. It's really well painted. However, what it represents, I kind of do have a problem with what I'm just going to refer to as the corner of afterthought. But there's another painting in the main building by the same artist, which is more religiously based. I think it's from Jonah and the Whale or something. So I don't think I can really slag off the artist by saying I think it's overly religious or just secular. I think if there was like a way for her to explain what she wants to represent in the painting, I think that there would be much less uproar, in my opinion.
The problem that I have with it is that it was commissioned by the university. The artist is someone who was given a brief, and they painted this picture according to that brief. And so the artist, in a sense, is just someone who created it, not necessarily decided what it was they wanted represented, what represented and how they wanted it represented. And then the artist wasn't the final person to decide whether what was created was appropriate or not, and where to put it. And it's such a central place in our university, this, that I think there needs to be so much more sensitivity in the way the communities are represented, because I think this community treats people equally, from where you're from, who you are, whether you're gay, whether you're black, whatever it might be, from the north, from the south, whatever your political connotations, we all treat each other equally. But what's really, really important is that that is represented, because what we see around us is very, very important, because it gives us messages. That's the point of the painting. And if the message is that, look at this fantastic scene of graduation, but it excludes people, that has an effect, because that is what you're showing your community, and it needs to be representative and it needs to be sensitive, and this picture fails miserably. And I think that's the main point. Yes, some people might not have a problem, yes, some people do, but I think what we've seen today is that people do have a problem with it. That doesn't mean everyone has to join in and say, oh yeah, this, that. But it means that those people's voices needs to be acknowledged, because that is the Winchester community.
Well, firstly, I'd agree with you that painting's hideous. It's absolutely atrocious. But the university makeup is overwhelmingly white, and there's a strong Christian heritage here. You knew this before you came here, everyone knew it before they came here. So I don't see now why we're here when they put a painting up that has strongly... Yeah, it is.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Across the UK, there's been a report that's been commissioned independently. And there's a huge issue of discrimination that goes on in the university from the point of accessing higher education to the point of during education and after education. That simple things like this adds to that stigma. So what you're actually doing is adding fuel to the fire. So by saying, well, actually, you know what Winchester's about. Yeah, I accept Winchester's got a strong Christian faith background, but academics, university, shouldn't stand for just that. There's a lot more diversity involved. There's a lot more things that needs to be taken into consideration, because this isn't a church, this isn't a faith-based organisation. This is a charity providing education for international students, not just UK-based students. So it needs to recognise that.
But yeah, but as people have already said, this university does a brilliant job with equality and diversity. I'm sure we'd all agree with that. So this is all we've got to moan about, then surely that shows the good job the university's doing.
I accept the university does do a great job.
So if the painting's all we've got to moan about, then...
It's not just the painting.
People enjoy being offended nowadays. I think people like to be offended. They like something to moan about.
I don't think that's the issue there.
Sorry.
Can I just say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to leave in a moment. I'd just like to say something before we go. As an academic, and can I just say that on the crowd that all the academics are from the same faculty?
What faculty is that?
The faculty of arts, of course. Can I just say that I have problems with this picture, but one of the main problems I have is that the university, I'm really pleased to hear how much you feel that the university believes in equality, etc. The university is a Stonewall champion, but it does not display its Stonewall champion logo. And yet it will display that, and I think that is wrong, and I think the priority there is wrong.
Can you explain what that award is? At least
it's we are designated Stonewall champion by the organisation, the LGBT organisation Stonewall, that we promote understanding of LGBT within the university. I don't know how many universities have got that, but we've got that. I think we should be proud of it. I think we should show our logo to say that we are that, and yet we put that up instead. So that might be.
I like that as an idea of like showing what the university has achieved. You were saying here, if this painting is all we have to moan about, then we're in a good situation in regards to how the university treats people. But the point is that this painting is a device to convey how the university treats people, and it is inaccurate. It misses the mark.
Well, we're forgetting this isn't the only device that the university will be used to their own students. If you're going to go and come in on open day based on a painting, you're quite stupid at it.
They took
it
from the perspective, so
there's a lot more to the
If you're riding around on a road, if you're driving outside and you see one road sign that says you can go, 80 kilometers or 80 miles an hour, and then all the other ones say 35 miles an hour. If there's one wrong road sign and you pay attention to that one, then is it your fault for being stupid enough to only go on?
Well, I think you're trivialising this thing.
You're driving less regulatory to pay attention to the rest of them, so that's an invalid point, really, isn't it? But
surely the road is like the person who's responsible for upkeeping the road and putting up signs is responsible for letting that slide through. And we are acting as the road committee, and this is an inaccurate sign. Should we just let it and be like, meh? People will probably get that this isn't an accurate representation, even though for some reason we posted it in a public place, because surely they should be smart enough to look at everything else and do a complicated comparison.
Yeah, I think the sensitivity comes from the senior management, and you have two different bodies of people. One looking at the commissioned artwork, such as this, that has very, very little responsibility to us, and very, very little responsibility to students who may come here in this university in terms of what they need to portray. They more or less decide what and how they need to portray themselves. I'm talking about the people who
commission these works of art, and that's the senior management. And then you have another department of people that are in charge of our publicity, which tries very, very hard, the people who came and took pictures of me for the 2015 perspective, who try very, very, very hard to make sure they accurately portray the community. And the people who've commissioned this piece of art have failed miserably to do what this piece of art should and says that it does. Exactly what you said, represent the community and represent what this university actually is.
I'm in media and film and faculty of arts. One thing the university is very keen on encouraging academics to do is to promote student engagement in various ways. And what this painting has done brilliantly is to promote student engagement, because I think it's fantastic that you guys have organised this meeting. It's great that you're debating this, and I mean, hopefully, you know, you'll find a way of taking these issues and this critique forward a bit. So that's a really positive thing. I'm also a Christian. I'm a sort of woolly-minded, Guardian-reading, lefty Christian, and I find this painting troubling. I'm uncomfortable with this painting because I don't want my faith to be understood as something which is in any way oppressive. I want my faith to be understood as something that's on the side of the underdog, which is for radical social practice, which isn't about sort of pushing anybody around, but actually promoting a multi-faith community, which is what this university ought to be good at. I think it's not the religiosity of the painting that's a problem for me. People who have commented on the painting to me have picked up on issues to do with just how embarrassing it is as a painting, about what it seems to be saying, which is problematic about the university's identity, and other criticisms I've heard, perhaps are more peculiar to staff than students, but some people have wondered about why certain individuals become part of the iconography in the painting and others don't.
Vice Chancellor being portrayed twice?
Well, I wouldn't comment. I'm just passing on the criticisms I've heard from to say that I think the way in which you're raising the issue of how people become involved in the decision-making process here is really good. That's an important part of the politics of what's going on here. So, well done, you guys.
Do we have figures of the ethnic makeup of the university?
6%.
Sorry, what?
6%.
So 6% are of an ethnic minority.
That's international students. That's not all.
Right. Okay. So
23% ethnic minority.
It's 7%.
Huh?
7% of BME students.
Right. Okay. So I think this gives it a pretty fair reflection, doesn't it?
We're not seeing students.
I think I've made it pretty clear, and you only need to look at the painting to see that my particular problem, which is the representation of people of African nationality or African descent, also known what I would call their political description as black people, is non-existent in this painting except in a capacity of these 3 young girls at the bottom that are obviously not members of the community. Now that is not only insensitive, it's offensive, and it's the reason that I called this meeting today, and I'm afraid that argument just doesn't stand at all, my friend.
Well, sure, I see 3 black people down there. There's numerous other people of ethnic origin up on the right-hand side, I would suggest.
Where are the Chinese students? Where's the
Yeah, Chinese students are cool now.
Where's the other face?
So why is everyone in that painting plays a part in the painting? It doesn't matter what they're doing, they're playing a part in the painting.
That's what
There was someone behind you, maybe pushing someone else.
Yes. From the
I
student
think-
union, I would have. I don't know if you're here in that capacity.
No, but I'm the ethical and environmental officer. I think that if I was a man, and I was black and disabled and an atheist and God knows what else, I would definitely not be happy with the painting because, I mean, I'm not happy with it anyway, but
I think I wouldn't be happy with it because I'm not in that painting. But I think everyone should remember that what the university is and what the university wants, type of people that the university wants to attract are two different like things and kind of like two different paintings. So like I think when the people here that like think it's a good paint, like it's a good representation, I guess it is, because there's not that many like black people at this uni. But obviously it's not what the uni's going for in terms of who it's trying to attract. So I just think it's like two different paintings. And I think if the university is trying to advertise what they like, the type of people that they want to attract, then it should maybe be in reception, and painting around, or like artwork around the university should be student artwork.
I don't want to moderate, but there was someone at the back and you can't see that, so I don't know whether
Just
that's...
to give another bit of context, the three black girls with the Vice Chancellor, they're from the Gambia, and it's a representation of the work the university does in the Gambia, so there is a link to them and the university. I do think that maybe the painting should probably come with some kind of key illustrating what parts are actually explaining what it actually is.
Can I just, you know, I'm obviously not a black student, but when I look at this picture, what I think is imperialism, and I don't think that, I think we still have an issue of racism, and it may have become institutionalized racism, and you do not have to, or you know, do it differently. I think that we have students who are of, you may want to call it ethnic minority, or you may want to describe it in any other way. And we have these students in our community, and when I walk down the campus, I see those students, and I do not see those faces on this painting, and I find that odd. And the only black students you see on this painting are students, are children in Africa, who we are supporting because we're very nice like that. But there's no student who's an equal member in this community to any of the other white students on this painting, and I wonder why that is. Because the university has to have negotiated an outreach, you know, we have the outreach contract, whatever you want to call it, that specifically targets, you know, diversity, and it's not on the painting, and that's bizarre, and it's not around campus, and that's bizarre. There's neither particular art on campus that has been, you know, commissioned by students that are of a minority, or, you know, that display students of a minority, and just because we're talking about minorities doesn't make the issue minor.
I just wanted to say, personally, I don't think it is representative of the student of the university itself. The other thing, well, with the three black or African girls, basically it's a charity. So the idea is that African people or black people are seen as a charity cause. It's personal, I think it's offensive, but of course, poverty in Africa is widely known. But the fact is, no African or black student is being represented who attends the university itself, or even members of staff or whatever. And on a religious point of view as well, of course, Winchester is a Christian place. There are other faiths in terms of the students attending a different faith, and it doesn't represent it as well. And if this was a selling point for the university, I don't think anyone will come here. But I don't think I didn't come here because of the painting. The only time I've seen the painting was when I started attending the college. So it wasn't, and it couldn't be a selling point for me. So I don't think it could have been for anyone a selling point.
Yeah. So part of, I'm an anthropology student, so here we go. Part of what constitutes a culture is what people see as normal and what people see as anomalous. And what this painting represents to me is that I am supposed to walk around this campus and see this guy right here as an anomaly. See you over there? Anomaly. And I don't like that. That makes me incredibly uncomfortable. You're not anomalies.
Just token representation, isn't it? Really? Just like crappy television shows, ill-considered.
I think if it's supposed to be representative and trying to steer it away from race slightly, but well, while we're on the point, I don't think a painting like this should say, right, we've got 60 people in it, there's 23% ethnic minorities, that means 13 people should be. I don't think you need to do it like that. But if it is representing the student body, then that painting says that no student here is black. But as as a representational painting, it's quite troubling that several of the. What troubled me is the Chancellor, Dame Mary Fagan, who seems to be hovering in the sky as some sort of. Well, she seems to be above everyone else and looking down, whereas everyone else is represented in a sort of context. There's several aspects of representation of the themes that are on the scrolls with the text that don't seem to tie in. The visual image doesn't seem to tie in with what the banner suggests in a lot of places for me, but that's a personal opinion.
I think it almost would have been more effective if we just had the text on a poster. Because it's so disjointed. And so there aren't leaflets flying around when you walk around this university, but it doesn't connect with any of the scenes or any of the people or the weird bendy arch things that I don't know what they're trying to represent.
Quite essentially, it's an advertisement. It's not about representation. It's about saying we want you to come to this university and saying, look at all the great things we do, and here are some, paintings of us doing them. But then it kind of isn't that. It's trying to be this advertisement, and it's failing really drastically. I think really.
And I don't think it's an advertisement.
I don't think it's an advertisement.
The Vice Chancellor, Helen said, the Vice Chancellor was interested in acquiring a piece of art which represented the foundation mission and the values of our university. And there are a department which looks after advertisement, and they flatly refuse to have anything to do with this painting in their pictures. So it is a piece of representation in the centre of our university. I think we can come to a general consensus that there are a group of people, a wide range of our community and our university community, that say there's something wrong with it. And if we don't want to go down that 16% of people have to be like this many, you have to go with feeling. If you're not going to go with numbers, you have to go with, I feel good here, I feel like I'm represented, I feel comfortable, or I feel uncomfortable. And when that comes in, I think we've got an obligation to go to the place in which installs things that do make us feel uncomfortable. But I think we should come to an end. We'll take any last points that people want to finish on, and then we'll come to an end and we'll pass a motion. But let's go through.
I think if we're going to have any sort of vote or motion on this, it needs to be more structured, not just people at this debate tonight. Because the vast majority of people I've talked to have shared the view that it really is a non-issue. Because it's a non-issue.
Why did they put it
they don't feel strong about it, they feel it's a non-issue. So surely if we want a representative vote, then we need to make it more structured, more people aware of the vote that we're taking. So I think that would be a fairer way to do it.
Okay, so speaking from the union's perspective on this and listening to all your points, I'd like to first say that I'm really pleased to see the amount of people here and see how engaged you are. I'm Vice President Education, so yesterday I ran a similar forum about the library and only 8 students showed up. To say this was done informally and it was made on Facebook, the amount of people that showed up shows how passionate people are about this. And what we do at the union is try to make sure that students sit on every single decision level at the university, so I'm quite shocked to hear that no students are on this arts committee. That's quite new to me. What I'd like to see in the future and what to say to all of you, well done for coming along, but also look at the other bits of art on campus. Bear in mind, this bit of art, in my opinion, I think it was done with the right, with good intentions and everything like that, and potentially some of it's been done wrongly in other people's opinion. But look at other bits of art on campus. Bear in mind that as a union, we're scraping by for money. There's other student-facing departments in the university scraping by for money. And take a look at the steel-framed animals around campus that obviously cost hundreds of pounds. Or the bit of art hanging off the front of the SEB building, which definitely cost thousands of pounds. Take a look at them as well. But what the union will be urging after this meeting today is that students do sit on and have a say with art at this university. But if you all vote today, I really think it should be voted on today. But if you want this to be taken further than this informal setting, do say, and we'll see what me and Nikhil can do about it.
Could I say on that point? I came to this university and I was aware that it's an institution that has a historical link and has a link that's still very proud of to the Anglican Church. However, when I started at this university, it was not displayed around campus in the way that it is now. And I think that there's nothing in this picture, and especially if you keep in mind that we have Jonah and the whale over in the main building, which is on the one hand a story that you don't just find in Christianity, you find that in Judaism and you find that in Islam. But what you don't find is a white grandfather face that's hovering at the top, which looks like God when you look at it. And I've been told it's supposed to be a scientist, but again, there's nothing that would explain that. And there's, if you walk in there, that's not what you see. You do not see a scientist. Most people that I've spoken to who walk in there say, well, why is God white and why is he pictured there anyway? There's nothing that explains that. There are a few things here that I think are great, like, the Masters in Death and Death Day, but I think it would be good if there was something to explain that. But we also have an angel now as we walk on campus. I never knew angels had to have slim waists and big boobs, but apparently they do, so as a feminist I wonder how did that happen. But there is a lot of Christianity displayed around campus in a way that doesn't make clear that other faiths and atheists are welcomed. And that was not the case when I started here, and I had the choice to go to Canterbury, and I chose not to go to Canterbury because of the art that was displayed. So I do think that's a better point. I didn't go to Canterbury because it had a link to Christianity that I felt was not welcoming, anything that was non-Christian. Anyone else?
Yeah, the first thing I thought when I looked at this was God. It's just screaming it everywhere with the heavenly light, and I know that's the signature of the artist herself, but I'm really off put by it. I am an atheist, and if I'd have known that they're not going to accept other religions or no religion, which is just as valid, I don't think I would have come here, picked it on the whim anyway. So this would have totally put me off if I was on an open day and I saw this.
I want to say that I think the issue here goes further than this painting. This painting is a good beginning for a debate, but the debate needs to carry on and look at the different representations that we have around the university, particularly in the economic context that the university is in, or at least the staff and students who are in this university. But I would just like to reinforce my point that when I went round the university and looked at the way black people were portrayed, and I'd just like to say my heritage is Jamaican, my granddad's Jamaican, so I have a personal investment in this particular issue, is that the portrayal of black people around the university generally was disgusting. It really was. The portrayal of white people was in positions of power quite more often than not, except in the publications. And I think there's a disparity between a socially conscious staff majority and student majority and an unconscious, insensitive and in a sense naive group of people who are making decisions about pieces of work like this that go around the university. And I think if we do make a motion, that needs to be included, and everyone needs to be aware that that's my particular issue as well. Anyone else? What happens next? Yeah, I found if anyone has any other ideas, let me know. But we have a petition, FAYE's organised a petition that we can sign now. What's that for?
Well, we've got blank paper and we can fill in at the top if there's anything that we want student activities to, for a cause. So we didn't come to this debate with a petition in mind that was supposed to be the outcome. We have a blank petition where we can say this is the cause and my signature supports this. So if we wanted to say, we want a conversation between senior management, the student union, and students who feel they have opinions that they want to share about this this is something that, you know, we could now have as a petition. If people feel they're ready to say we want the motion, then that's something we can do right now as well. I've not taken minutes, but I've taken the main points for and against, and you know what people felt. So if you just want to leave your email address because you want to be informed with what's going on and what will be taken further, then all of that is open to debate on what we will do.
We could, there's a couple of ways that we could do this. We can just pass around emails and sort something out. We could clump up now, spend 2 minutes just going, I think the most important thing that we need to do is this, and then just feed that 1 or 2 things back. Or we could say, whoever's interested, let's create a working group and we meet next week or something like that. I mean, we bash through these issues.
Can I make a suggestion? Is there a meeting of the Student Academic Council coming up in December? 12th of December, something like that?
Yeah, it's the next Student Academic
Why don't you put it as an agenda item on the Academic Council?
Because there's no black, no disabled and no feminist student representative on the Academic Council this year because they have been removed. And because this is not an issue that just the representatives on the Student Academic Councils who were not chosen electively, who were appointed, concerned. This is an issue that those students who are in this room are concerned with, and they should, part of the discussion, they should be those who take actions.
Why don't you ask then, that is a bigger issue, and I think you should address that. Why don't you ask for this particular motion though, to this agenda item, for you to be present, for for a group or 1 or 2 of you to take forward this body, to be asked to attend Student Council, to only to address that issue. Part of that might be to address the larger, longer term way in which Student Council is set up. Remember, it's very new, it's very different, and you can shift and change it. We constitutionally shift and change all our committees all the time, so that would be good. But for this item, committees are always having visits from people with specialist knowledge and interest. This seems to me an entirely appropriate thing for you to ask, and I'm sure it would be welcomed. Do you think?
Yeah, I recommend go ahead with the working group, set it up for next week. I'd happily sit on it, and then we'll find out the points, get them written down, and take it to Student Academic Council any higher in December. I think it's more urgent. So.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any urgent motions that we need to, apart from creating a working group and getting a list of people who would be interested in meeting next week to move forward? Is there anything urgent that we need to do now? Like, for example, Tom, you're here in the capacity of a student union representative.
Yeah, apparently it's turned into that, yeah.
Okay, because one of my first things would be to liaise with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one of us will definitely be sitting on the working group. So I'd recommend for now is if you want to be on the working group, give your email address to Akeem and you'll be in contact with a date and time.
Okay. Anything else that anyone thinks that we should provide, pass a motion for to do anything that they think is urgent or that needs to be done imminently?
Why is there why is there no management from the university here today?
No, I didn't invite anyone specifically. I made the event as public as I could. They've been monitoring what's been going on in terms of the debates on the portal, as they said here. So as far as I'm concerned, it was their decision not to turn up to a debate which was university-wide.
Just for information, a lot of the senior management were at a memorial service from the staff this afternoon.
Okay, so I guess we just get email addresses and we meet up next week. People who are interested in coming along and doing some work on taking this to where it needs to be, which for me, student union, rest of the student body, as these gentlemen were saying, which needs to be taken to a wider debate of the university, and also to the staff as well, active engagement with the staff to see how they would like to be included in this working body, and then to include senior management and see their take on it and how they want to be included and respond to our concerns. So anyone interested in, first of all, not being included in any film or audio, remember to see Graham, and also, yeah, see Frank. Cheers guys.